Good morning, everyone. Time for another edition of Mornings with Stanley. Stanley I guess he wants to go for a walk. He didn't get one yesterday, and I'll try it. Today's going to be a busy day. It is Good Friday today, so I've got a lot to do to get ready for the Easter service, to get stuff posted online and sent out via email and some other stuff I need to do today. But I'll try and get a walk in for Stanley because he needs some exercise because he goes crazy when he hasn't had his exercise. He's a good boy. Aren't you a good boy? You gonna let me do my... Can you sit? Can you sit? Sit. Sit. Good boy. Can you lay down? No, you can't do that, can you? Are you gonna just stay there? Will you let me do my work and you stay here with me? Okay, well, I'll just talk a little bit about Stanley Jones. That's why we're here anyway. I don't want to waste too much of your time. Stanley Jones, I mentioned yesterday, he went to India and was a missionary. He's fairly successful. He found the culture so much different from American culture. As he got to know the Indians, though, he got to respect the culture more than he did when he initially, and he began to ask the Indians, how could Christianity be, why were more people not accepting Christianity? And he got some pretty blunt answers. I couldn't find my printed copy, my paper copy of his first book, Christ of the Indian Road, but I do have it on an ebook. But there was one guy named, his name was Bharadada, who was the brother of Rabindranath Tagore. You may have heard of Tagore. You can Google him. I think he was a poet from India. But Bharadada said to Jones that Jesus is ideal and wonderful, but you Christians are not like him. Pretty blunt. And someone else said, I'm not sure exactly where it is, that if you Christians were more like Jesus, India would lay down at your feet. So I think we have a lesson to learn from that. I think it was this book that really made me want to do my thesis on Jones, because I just felt like it had so much to say to us today as a church in the 21st century, even as Jones was trying to reach out to the church of the early 20th century. Almost 100 years ago was when that book was written. So let's go on back to Christian maturity. I'm going to have to let you out of the room, Stanley. You just... Come on. Come on. Good boy. We are looking for our Friday passage. And it's the reading. We're not in Ephesians or Timothy this week. We're in Acts 17, verses 22 through 28. I should have had this looked up before. Here's chapter 17, verses 22 through 28. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, "You men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with the inscription, 'To the unknown God,' whom therefore you ignorantly worship. Him I declare unto you, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwells not in temples made with hands, neither is he worshipped with men's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitation, that should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we also are his offspring. May God bless the reading of his word. Now for our devotion today. Religion, man's search for God. In Jesus, the Word became flesh. In Gnosticism, the Word became idea. We must broaden and even universalize that statement by saying, in Jesus, the Word became flesh. In all other systems of religion and philosophy, the Word became Word. Jesus is good news. All else is little g, good news. Good views, I should say. All religions are man's attempt to climb to God. Jesus is God's descent to man. All religions are man's search for God. Jesus is God's search for man. Therefore, there are many religions, but there is but one gospel. So Jesus did not bring a religion to set alongside of other religions, one a little better, more moral, more spiritual. He came to set the gospel over against human need, whether that need be in this religion, that religion, or in no religion. As the Son of Man, he confronts the sons of men with God's offer to man. He himself is that offer. The gospel lies in his person. He is the good news. He didn't proclaim the gospel so much as he was the gospel. So over against the vagaries of Gnostic speculation, John set the vitalities of gospel sureties. And he planted those sureties right down amid the material. The Word became flesh, right down where we live. With all their vaunted knowledge, the Gnostics were immature in thinking that life could be compartmentalized. The life of the Spirit good, the life of the flesh, and that life could be worked out on that basis. The question of good and evil is not a question of spirit and matter. It is a question of will. There is nothing bad but a bad will. The seed of evil is in the will, not in matter. The attempt to place evil in matter was an immature attempt to blame evil on something other than personal responsibility, an immature evasion. So the Christian faith meets us where we are in the flesh and offers us redemption in the flesh, not from the flesh. A workable offer. We are to be mature in the midst of material relations, not apart from them. That is maturity. And here's our prayer for today. O Jesus, my Lord, I am grateful that thou art not offering me immature fancies, but mature fact. I lean heavily upon thy realism, for I cannot rest this side of the real. I have the feeling that thou art reality itself. I thank thee. Amen. And our affirmation of the day, my attachment shall be a personal attachment to the personal Jesus with all my person. So we close once again with the first of all creeds. Jesus is Lord. Amen.